Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about challenges with body health and weight loss. And it's confession time. I mean, after all, I wrote the book, Don't Diet, using tapping to help manage weight. But I'm finding that I need to do a whole lot more tapping about weight and health and all of that. So today I wanted to just give you a little bit of the backstory. And then over the next couple weeks, we'll be doing some tapping, and you can tap along with me or just watch if you want, for managing cravings and some of the emotional things that underlie weight gain and some things like that. If you see me looking away, it's because I am actually taking notes while I'm doing this so that I can remember kind of the things that I've come up with that I need to tap on in the next couple of videos. So here goes. Here's the backstory. I moved to New Mexico about 6 years ago. In the year and a half before and the year after I moved here, I lost almost 60 pounds. And I did it with exercise and diet the way everybody else does, but I also used a lot of tapping to help manage some other things that were going on. But basically during that time when I was losing all the weight, I felt wonderful. Sure, there were some struggles. Occasionally I felt deprived, but for the most part, I felt fabulous. By the end, I was wearing clothes that were a size that were the smallest I had ever worn in my entire adult life, and the scales also confirmed that. But it wasn't just about the number on the scales or the tape measure. I really, really felt good. So let's fast forward to now. I've gained 25 pounds in the past 2.5 years. And I have some idea why that's happened. And sure, some of it has to be the food I eat. That's just biologically the way it has to be. But I'm not eating a lot of things that would be considered unhealthy, but portion size probably has gotten away from me. What happened 2.5 years ago? 2.5 years ago, when the weight gain started, I changed jobs. I went from a job where I had a lot of freedom and autonomy and was able to work out during the day and was up and down frequently, to a job that is incredibly stressful, controlling, and sedentary. Needless to say, I don't particularly like those things, but the job has a trade-off as far as salary and benefits, so I took the job. At the beginning of taking the job, I also broke my arm and I was immobilized for a while. So I got out of the habit of a lot of exercise, and I was eating because I didn't feel good. And I was eating at the wrong time of day. And although it's fruit, I was eating too much fruit because I know what that does to my body. So those things were going on. There started to be more stress in the outside of me life too, things that I felt like I needed to handle. So stress, lack of exercise, lack of, I don't want to say pleasure because I do have a lot of things that are pleasurable in my life, but lack of control, I believe that all of that contributes to this weight gain. Well, I'm pretty unhappy about it. Because when I lost all the weight and felt great and it was easy, almost effortless to keep it off, I gave away all my what I would call fat clothes. And so recently I've actually had to buy some bigger sizes, and even those don't feel all that comfortable. I don't like the way I look in the mirror. And so I have the negative self-talk going on. So there's my backstory, but it's time to get in touch with this and get control over it. I'm very much aware that I can't shame or punish myself into losing weight. I have to love myself into it. But there's some clues in what I just told you about where I think at least I need to start. Let's see if you picked them up. One of the first ones that I heard myself say to you was stress. And yes, I am definitely under a lot of stress at work and some at home. So tapping is great for managing stress and opening people up to the possibilities on finding solutions and how to handle things. So that's definitely going to be a component here. The second thing I heard myself say was portion size. All right. Well, portion size is pretty easy to handle. I have measuring cups and spoons and scales, and I know what appropriate portions are, so I could go back to that. But I feel a fair amount of resistance that I shouldn't have to because I've done it before. But having taught lots of classes on all of this, I know that shouldn't have to is just my body telling myself, my brain telling myself lies. So I can tap on the resistance to doing what I know works, which is measuring. So that's the second one I heard myself say. The third one I heard was that the lack of regular exercise. Now that one's going to be a little tough right now. I had started back to a gym. I was swimming. I had worked up to doing a mile each time I went, but I have a broken foot right now. And yes, I'm allowed to get in the pool with the broken foot, but managing the pool deck and all of the water and everything right now is kind of not very safe. So I have to find some other things that aren't maybe my most preferable exercises to do in the meantime, but to find some sort of regularity. So 2 days ago, even with this orthopedic boot on my foot, I went to the gym and I started doing core workout and the machines for upper body and all of that. But what did I do today? I didn't go. Because I'm out of that habit, so I have to build in the habit. So working on ways to build that habit back in, decrease the resistance to going, those are all going to be some things that I can do. The fourth thing that I heard myself tell you about was the negative self-talk about having gained the weight, for one thing, and that I'm a smart woman and I let it happen and I've been here before, and so I need to do something with some of that negative self-talk. And so one of the things that I might need to do is to go back to where some of it came from, some of those childhood messages or early adult messages about my body, and tap on specific incidents. Let me write that down because that's going to be an important one. And then just doing maybe some of the choices method to substitute more positive statements for the negative ones. So when I call myself fat or lazy or any of those things, I can put in what I choose to think about myself instead. And building in the positives in that particular arena has always been pretty effective for myself and with clients that I've worked with. So putting in that positive tapping. Let me write that one down. All right. Cravings aren't a huge issue for me. I have a very restricted diet anyway because of food allergies. And so for the most part, I don't eat a lot of sugary stuff. I can't eat baked goods and all of that. So I don't have a lot of cravings. But if I did, tapping would work well for the cravings too, in that immediate moment when I feel the need to eat a specific unhealthy thing. What I do have, though, I wouldn't call it a craving. I would call it a compulsion, that when my stress level is high, I want to put something in my mouth. And sometimes I can do it with carrots if I have them with me, but sometimes it's nuts or seeds or whatever, but I still eat too many of them when I'm stressed. So I can build in some tapping when I'm having an eating compulsion, where I just feel like I have to have something, I have to soothe myself with food somehow. And while I can use these other healthy foods, I would rather make that go away altogether and substitute some non-food thing for that. So there's another one that I can put in there where it really could be very easy and manageable and might not take a whole lot of tapping to do. I'm wondering, maybe you heard me say some other things that might be easy to change, particularly with tapping. And if so, I hope you respond to this post so that I can hear what your suggestions are too. So we'll be getting started on the tapping soon. Stay tuned. It may be a little raw. It's definitely going to be very personal. But I think that sometimes that's the best way for you to get engaged with it too, is to see how somebody attacks these issues in a non-scripted, kind of real way. So until next time, happy tapping.